Your Denver Broncos were simultaneously blatantly disrespected while getting one of the biggest awards in football, and I don't know how to feel about it, so let me know in the comments. How are you feeling after NFL honors last night? We got to break it all down and more in this video. If you're new to the channel, I'm a diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it helps me in the YouTube algorithm out a ton if you like the Broncos, if you would like and subscribe. So the good news, the award in front of the entire country, everybody eating their words, and that is half of the world is covered by water, and the other half is covered by your Defensive Player of the Year, Patrick Surtain. This just sounds incredible, and I don't think it will ever get old that the Denver Broncos have the best player on defense in the entire NFL. Full stop. And you just look at what he was able to do this year, and it was wild. And the future for this Broncos team, knowing that half of the field or your best offensive weapon is going to be locked down each and every week, is incredible. You look at a young player who still has not hit his ceiling, and every single one of the interviews after that NFL honors was like, we got a lot of work to do. I'm not satisfied yet. That we're still grinding. I'm going for a Super Bowl. And so having a player who is in his prime, who the NFL honors as like, hey, he was the best, and it wasn't even close for second. Like, you heard a ton of people talk to AP voters, and they're all like, yeah, Patrick Surtain, and there's no even second close place. I love that it wasn't even close, because this is the type of award that is really, really difficult to get if you're a cornerback. That if you look since 2000, you look, great tweet here, since 2000, you've only given this award to defensive backs 6 times, and you're talking dudes like Ed Reed, Troy Polamalu, Woodson, Stephon Gilmore, and Pat Surtain. Like, those are big, big names. And in recent history, it's only been given out 1 time to a defensive back since 2010. So this is an award that was slated not to go to him. Like, it's like beating the Chiefs. You got to be so good they can't even cheat. It's the exact same thing here. Like, Pat Surtain has to be so good that they can't rig this award for someone else. And looking at the players that he won this award over, it's players that you hear the national media just gush about. Like, if I hear anything more about TJ Watt and what a game changer he is, or Myles Garrett, I'm going to puke. And so I love the fact that your Denver Broncos have the best player on defense in all of football, and our future is wildly, wildly bright, and that is fully on display right there. Just taking a look here, love this, that Zach Stevens points this out, that we remember he kind of took a hometown discount to sign and stay with Denver for the next 4 years. That looked like a brilliant move then, and each and every day, it's even more brilliant. So fantastic. His year, you just cannot take away what he did this year. And you're talking about him going against some of the best receivers in all of football. Yes, we did not play Justin Jefferson, so he didn't get a chance to go against him, but you are looking at how he does DK Metcalf, Pickens in week 1, week 2, Pickens, week 3, you got Godwin and Evans, like wild. Week 4, you're talking Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball. Week 5, Devontae was not there, but should have been, and probably asked for a trade because he knew he was going to get locked down. But this week 4, he was lining up against Brock Bowers a lot in that spot. And you can just go down the entire list, and you were Hopkins in week 10. You were looking at some great receivers with the Falcons. So Pat Surtain played at the highest level against some of the highest competition, and that's got to make you just feel like, I cannot wait for next year, because imagine Riley Moss taking another step in his development. Imagine our pass rushers who are going to be a year older. This defense is just going to continue to get better, and we're going to make upgrades this season, and you just take a look at that was a strength that I am confident is going to be even stronger next year. And the future is playoffs and deep playoff runs and Super Bowl runs with this core. And it's exactly what you heard from every single person on Radio Row. It's what Vic Fangio said. It's what Kay Adams said. It's what multiple people said about this Broncos core is wild. So now we got to get into the disrespect. And this is something that I'm taking a little bit personally, because I am a hardcore Bo lever. Love me some Bo Nix. Like, I want to get a tattoo of Bo Nix on my upper dorsum, like somewhere in this area. And so he was up for Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I think he definitely should have had it. There's not a quarterback who I think did more with less than Bo Nix. And I know that, like, you watch the playoff game, the playoffs are not supposed to matter whatsoever. And so you take Jayden's game against the Detroit Lions out of it when you actually compare what he did. And I think Bo Nix had a better season than Jayden Daniels. Even still, I get that it's a narrative award and that Jayden maybe won it early on, so you got to give it to him. But Bo Nix still should have shown up on a ton of people's ballots as a sharpied in number 2. But if you take a look at it, it was far, far from that, and it was disrespectful. So if you take a look at this, just the plain stats here, that Bo Nix took a team that hasn't been to the playoffs in almost a decade, and he got him there as a rookie with one of the toughest coaches one of the toughest schemes, one of the most like cerebral schemes. We broke it down yesterday. He was second all time, like of all time, for rookies and passing touchdowns. He was first this year with rookies passing touchdowns of all the rookies. And he was only on 38 of the 50 ballots, and he had 0 first place votes. So you're taking a look that you had 12 people who didn't even give him a first, second, third, or fourth team vote. You had people putting rookies on there that the typical NFL fan would not even know about. And that to me is just blatantly disrespectful. And again, to the point that Bo Nix should have been in the conversation. He should have been a hard number 2, full stop. There's no one even close to that number 2. You look at pass yards. He had more yards in the air than Jayden Daniels. He had more passing touchdowns. He had a reception touchdown. He had more total touchdowns than Daniels. He had the same number of wins, and I would even argue that he had less offensive weapons around him. Like, if you watch that Lions-Commanders game, you can't with a straight face tell me that the options that Jayden has weren't better than Bo's. They are head and shoulders above what Bo Nix has. So to not even get a single vote for Rookie of the Year, I thought was horrible. And especially when you look at our gauntlet of games we had to play, like Jayden Daniels got one of those touchdowns was that garbage Hail Mary, a 70-yard Hail Mary, when one of the Chicago Bears defenders literally has his back to the play and is pumping up the crowd. And that is one of his passing touchdowns. And that's 70 yards of his throwing right there. And you just look at his division. He got to play the Cowboys twice. He got to play the Giants twice, where really we had the Raiders. And the first time we played the Raiders, they actually were competing. We had 3 playoff teams in our division. We had to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. We had to play the Ravens. We had to play in Tampa. We had to play the Jets when they mattered. Our schedule was like murderer's row, and Bo Nix got us to the playoffs as a rookie. And I'm just very disrespected by the fact that he did not get a single vote. Want to know, how are all y'all feeling after those NFL honors? In general, I think for a Super Bowl week, I have come out of this week just feeling insanely hyped about our future, that we are going to just continue to get better. And Andrew Mason said it absolutely best, that it is great to cover a Super Bowl this week and to be watching the Super Bowl and just say, you know what, I actually might watch the Super Bowl on Sunday, because it does not feel like it's that far off for the Broncos. The past couple of years, I have been on family trips with the family when the Broncos were eliminated from the playoffs, and I haven't even wanted to watch the Super Bowl because it's felt like so far off that it wasn't even possible. This time a year ago, Russell Wilson was still on our team, and we didn't know what the future held. We thought that dead cap hit was insurmountable. We were never going to recover from it. Yet here we are with the best player in the entire NFL on defense. We have a player who should be in contention for Rookie of the Year, who we know is going to take a massive step forward. And the playoffs and the Super Bowl are not that far off. And so let's watch together on Sunday. Let us root harder than we've ever rooted in our lives for the Chiefs to lose, for Taylor Swifties to cry everywhere, because the Broncos are back. And that's something we should all believe in. Where's my ball? Oh, it's so lined up.